I'm so sorry. It is just the most painful thing to watch. I'm so sorry. I just need 1 second.
There's some massive flooding going on in downtown Boone right now.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I've never seen that.
No match against Hurricane Helene's remnants and the power of Mother Nature.
Well, the only way to describe the damage here in Asheville is historic and catastrophic. Here in North Carolina,
in the mountains of eastern Tennessee, the flooding is catastrophic.
Down trees, down power lines, hundreds of thousands of people still without power in this part of North Carolina. Catastrophic damage.
Desperate search for people still missing. The death toll climbing to at least 166 people.
The devastation here is extensive, and this area is in desperate need of relief.
The desperation for food, water, and power in the wake of Hurricane Helene reaching a breaking point. Landslides and flooding washing away roads and bridges, making it nearly impossible to get to those in need.
This is an unprecedented storm.
Of Hurricane Helene, that nowhere in its path was safe. The worst flooding to hit the region in a century. Thousands of downed trees, power and mobile outages, and hundreds of closed roads.
It's indescribable.
Now an apocalyptic stew of rubble and debris after Helene ripped through the state. Helene first made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast as the most powerful hurricane, a Category 4, tearing northeast through Georgia, the Carolinas and Tennessee. Homes were swept away in the storm.
People are still missing. In terms of Helene's wrath, it's horrifying. This morning, there are still dozens of people missing in Tennessee and in North Carolina.
Biblical devastation. This as the death toll from Helene continues to climb. In Tennessee, catastrophic stormwater raging downstream. More than 30 people still missing. Helicopter footage from above showing entire neighborhoods gone. This bridge collapsing into the Nolichucky River.
Very serious situation in the south, the catastrophic aftermath of Hurricane Helene, the death toll rising.
Deep into the country, take their ever more destructive toll.
Millions of people are still without power. Whole communities have been flattened.
Sean and I made it to Richmond, Kentucky. We got to get gas, and then we're going to run in and grab some coffee, and then get back on the road to East Tennessee. It's cold and rainy out this morning, so hopefully the sun comes out in a little bit. I don't think it's supposed to warm up much.
270 here.
What was it back home?
310. It's cold. Move.
We're going to check on our property. We haven't been down there since the flooding.
Yeah, I should have stopped that.
Now we're heading in to get some coffee. We'll see if we get anything for breakfast. I'm not super hungry. Yeah, I lost Sean. Not quite for sure where he went. Where's Sean? Where'd you get?
Burrito. It's the Beast breakfast burrito.
I think we got a new subscriber. We'll see if she subscribes. The cashier, if you subscribe, we're talking about you. Okay, we're gonna try these breakfast sandwiches. I got the bacon, egg, and cheese croissant.
I got the breakfast burrito.
John got the Big Daddy burrito.
I got scared I didn't open it enough.
Sean and I finally made it down to Greene County, Tennessee in under 6 hours. This is actually the first time we've been able to come down to the property since the flooding. So we're going to do some work here on the property, and then we're going to meet up with people and get supplies out. I had to borrow a pair of my daughter's socks because I don't have any long socks. So, thank you, Kenzie.
Do what?
The grass did get a little tall.
That's a lot taller than what I thought it was going to be.
I will say one thing. These are like the most uncomfortable boots. They're getting closer to getting the barn down. Takes a lot longer when you're trying to salvage everything. That's the good thing about having property out in the middle of nowhere. You can just take a piss.
That's dangerous. Look, y'all. Dangerous. Now nobody will get hurt. Oh, he cleaned up in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
He's got a lot of this cleared out.
Yeah. These stumps. We may end up having to rent a stump grinder. So I got about 4 stumps over there that need to come out.
A bobcat won't rip that out.
Yeah, you just gotta dig around it and around it. And...
Okay, so now we're gonna head back and check on our mowers, and we got a lot to mow today. See how tall it's getting. Okay, Sean and I just got done mowing. We've been out here all day. It's freaking colder. So now we're gonna head to the Airbnb and change and get a shower. I'll show you what Sean and I did today. All that back there. And then it goes further back past those trees we mowed. And then there's some walking paths. If we come back out here tomorrow, I'll take you guys out there and show you back in that area. Yeah, straight through here. All this area out here, we will eventually grade this down and clean this all up. Yeah, it is windy, rainy and cold in Tennessee right now. But like I said, all this area out here, we'll clean all this up, grade all this down. This is where the driveway is going to come through. Right now it's just waiting to get this barn out of here. This tree right here I love, so I definitely want to keep this tree. You guys can see this. This big ass tree here. That's the tree of our future. I call that the future tree. Kind of got a mess in here because this is like literally the only place on the property that we have to keep all of our equipment, lawnmowers and gas and all that stuff dry. So Sean and I, we've still got about an hour before we can get the Airbnb. Probably our plan tomorrow is meet with the locals here. They're gonna take us to some areas where we can drop off all of our supplies. I don't know, maybe it was a bird or something. Bird or a rabbit. Trying to stay in the wooded area because it's starting to really rain hard right now. It sucks all this weather moved in for all the people doing all the relief work and cleanup and stuff. Got all of our work done here at the property.
today. So hopefully tomorrow we can help out wherever we're needed. We've got a case this weekend, and then we've got a case next Wednesday. So we've been on the road like non-stop. Doors are locked, I can't get in. I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, and it is now 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I may have to go get another SD card for my GoPro as well. Okay, so Sean and I just got to the Airbnb here, Greenville, Tennessee. We actually forgot they do not have water here in Greenville, so nobody has coffee, so we had to get
Alrighty, finally got to Airbnb. It's shower time. Oh, let's check out the Airbnb. Big, nice kitchen, nice table. Got a shower. I guess I got a small couch to sleep on. Hey, we got a video game. And then we have Josh's room. We can make popcorn. Hey, they got you chips.
Yep.
And suckers. No TV for Josh.
I'll watch YouTube on my phone.
Okay. That's the lovely tour of the Airbnb. It was not easy trying to find somewhere to stay. We're gonna get ready, get a shower. We gotta go to Walmart, yeah.
Eat.
And eat.
Okay, so let us get ready, and then we'll jump back on here. It's freaking cold in here. Okay, so we got lucky, and this place has a Keurig. So we got some water, so we have coffee. I was thinking 2 days with no coffee would be a little rough, but we do have coffee. Right now I'm charging my GoPro batteries. We do have to run to Walmart because I need another mini SD card. So we're supposed to be doing a lot of filming tomorrow. I'm dropping off supplies, meeting with, needed to get another SD card for my GoPro. I've got my other camera here. Sean's in the shower right now. Once he gets done, we're going to go find something to eat, run to Walmart real quick, come back here, rest. Tomorrow's gonna be a very busy day, probably a very emotional day. Yeah, right now we're trying to drink our coffee and wake up.
Which is not very good.
It's still coffee.
Yeah.
When the lights go down, I've seen hell in you, but you don't care, no, you don't care, no, you just rather watch me fall.
One steak. Okay, so Sean and I got all the lots staked out. See, Rocky's planning on being back in this area, but you'll have a pretty good view. That out there we're all going to keep wild, so we're just going to cut some walking trails through there, and then all this back in here will be kept wild. See, we kind of got some trails already mowed down. If you go down that way, there's trails. But yeah, that's what this entire property used to look like when we first bought it. All overgrown like that.
Which even them trees was probably only half that size when we first bought this, so they're growing really good. Eventually they'll be as tall as them trees way out there.
So this area here, you can see, you know, we've got...
You can see the mountain too, Josh, way out there. Wonder what mountain that is.
I don't know. So you can see all this area we've cleared out. We got it now to where we can manage it by...
Look at the blue bird. I kind of wonder what that is.
Blue jay.
Is it blue jay?
So we got it to where we can come out a couple times a month, once a month probably, and keep it mowed down.
Yeah, see, Josh, Rocky's driveway, I think, is going to come this way. Right along that fence line or something.
It is cold in Tennessee this morning. That's where our driveway is gonna come from, the front of the property. Back here to Sean's house will be here. Rocky's will be back there. We got some trails cut. I'll show you guys this real quick. I'm not gonna walk all the way down there, just have walking trails for like Duke and Marlowe and Tucker and Rocky's dogs. Listen for a second. All you hear is nature. No big cities, nice and peaceful. So our life is always so hectic that it'd be nice coming down here and just being at peace. Yeah, this whole thing was nothing but freaking sticker bushes. Some type of berry, like a blackberry or something like that.
Or if you go up to this tree and show them there's some berries, I think, on that over there.
So whatever these berries are, there's other ones too. The other ones look more like raspberries. Yeah, I'll try to find pictures. I mean, this stuff was as tall as that stuff. So we came in here with the skid steer. Right there is where we're going to build our barn. And then way in the back there is where Sean's house is. And then up here is where I plan on building. I'll have this, obviously we'll have to clear out some of this woods. That's my stake, and then we'll cut some type of trails back through this woods too. Yeah, so if you can imagine a driveway coming from up front there, coming all the way back, and then going back through that drive there. That's kind of the layout we're envisioning. They got all the audio ready. What you did with those?
Basically got hungry.
We got down to Greenville, Tennessee, downtown. We're gonna go get something to eat real quick before we meet Missy and start filming today. So Sean said this place is good, so we'll see.
I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so we're gonna go see what we can find to eat for lunch and then go start filming. We've had very little coffee, so we're crazy tired.
Henry.
Sean and I just finished our lunch. I had a chef salad. What did you get?
American or California Dream. I think it had like roast beef and ham and vinaigrette sauce, which was really good.
Yeah, so if you're ever in Greenville, Tennessee, definitely check that place out. Excellent food.
Now we're gonna go up here. There's a coffee shop. It's called Catalina. We got enough people working in there. That's how many people was in there last time. It's like, man, that.
I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.
So we got the alerts that there was going to be flooding, and of course all of the news agencies said that the river was probably going to crest around 15.5 feet, and that's not a big deal. That's pretty common around here. If we have really hard rain, you'll see those flood levels get to that. It's not a big deal. So in 1977, which I'm sad to say I was alive during that flood, it peaked slightly over that. I believe 19 feet was flood level in 77. We were not prepared for what was going to happen here. There was no way to know. Water was coming up at about 5 feet an hour. I can't express to y'all how quick this happened. Everybody says why didn't y'all evacuate? We just had no way of knowing. There was no accounting for this. Took a lot of pictures, I documented a lot of it, and I'm glad that I did so we could go back and look, because in the aftermath, it was hard to remember everything that happened. It just happened so quick. Well, by 6:48, Kinzer Bridge was gone, and it's way higher above the Nolichucky than what Corby was. Corby had already washed out at that point. Bailey's Bridge was already gone at that point. People were just trying to grab as much as they could. Down here at Corby Bridge, there was a brand new house under construction, and we literally watched it be sucked under the bridge. Thousands of tomatoes. You just would not believe how many tomatoes were washing over the bridges from upstream on the 107. Other rivers flooded. Newport got hit with the Pigeon River, and the French Broad, of course, is what runs through Hot Springs, Marshall. The Nolichucky was where most of the damage was done in this part of the state. Now, of course, over in North Carolina, you had other things that contributed to that in Lake Lure and Chimney Rock and places like that. Basically, a tidal wave come over that mountain and hit the Nolichucky River. And then from there, it just was complete devastation. To the back of our farm, that is the Nolichucky right behind us. There's a rock bluff at the back of the farm that's about 55 feet high. The water was within 15 feet of breaching that. Niagara Falls is 700,000 gallons per second coming over it. At peak, the dam on the Asheville Highway that is on the Nolichucky took on 1.2 million gallons per second. How that dam held, I will never know, except for the men back 100 years ago built the strongest dam known to mankind, because it was tiny. You couldn't even tell it was there anymore. They actually sent out alerts saying that it was going to breach and evacuated everyone within a 2-mile radius. We were just out at Bailey's Bridge yesterday. That area was hit tremendously hard. Bill Mock Road, there's a section there where there were houses, and I mean, there's nothing left. There's nothing there. There was a little camp area there. It's all gone. The farms there are all gone. I mean, it is complete devastation. Some of these farms are 6-7 generation farms. Yeah. I hate to say this, it sounds very pessimistic, but when you're talking about such a significant loss of topsoil, the chances of ever being able to go in and refarm it again are just, I mean, it would take years and years and years. All of these properties are covered in 16 to 20 inches of mud and sand now. The topsoil is just non-existent. Down the road, there's definitely going to be a ripple effect in the agricultural industry in the U.S. from this, because the South produces so many things that either were just coming in for harvest, like tomatoes, but things that were setting up to be planted, like strawberries and stuff. And I mean, not just here, but in North Carolina, in Florida, other places that were impacted. There'll be a trickle-down effect of this. You'll see an influx of produce coming in, probably from Mexico and other places, because something has to fill that. So, I mean, there'll be definite ramifications. Anything that was touched by floodwater has been deemed unsellable. You can't do anything with it. I'm going to be as candid and honest as I can right now about this. I'm certain that there's going to be casualties that are unaccounted for, because I know over in North Carolina at several farms, there were a lot of undocumented workers. Their families in Mexico are just now starting to ask questions and try to figure out where they are. I think the death toll is going to be significantly more than what we think it is right now, because the recovery efforts are still ongoing. I know in Poplar, North Carolina, just a few days ago, they are still doing search and recovery over there because the debris is so thick. As morbid as this sounds, when you start seeing the buzzards is where you start looking. I mean, everything's covered in debris. So finding people is going to be challenging. I know Wayne Wilhoit from here in Greene County, he's been over with his K-9, and they've had him over there searching and helping, and I know they brought him in from all kinds of different law enforcement agencies. Recovery could happen weeks from now still, maybe even longer. I mean, what do you do when everything's covered in mud, trees, houses, debris? You can't just hand dig through all of that piece by piece. It's impossible. I'm sorry. I think the reality of it is some of those people won't be found. I think the people in Greene County were extremely lucky that they found Boone. I'm very grateful that they did. I'm so glad they have that closure for his family. I'm telling you, I hope they name a bridge after him, because he was out there searching, trying to help people, and I'm sorry. It's hard to accept how many people have lost. Mr. Cloyd, they're still looking for him. I don't know that family will ever get any resolution. I don't know. I don't even know where you start to look now. They did lose their lives. They're physically still here, but they're walking around just a shell of what they were before, because literally everything they have washed away in that river. I consider our losses very insignificant. We lost crops, we lost land. That's nothing in comparison to what some of these people have lost. They pretty much told the community there, here's your helicopter, we'll get you out. You can come back in 2 years or you can stay. And those people all chose to stay. They did not leave. And we'll keep working and doing whatever we have to until somebody has a road in there. Or keep dropping helicopter supplies to them, whatever they need. I am going to give a shout out to one specific individual. This kid's name is Eli Prophet. I called him Prophet the Prophet. He had a 4-wheeler and a box, and that kid hauled meals anywhere and everywhere. Torrential downpours, you name it. I've never seen a 17-year-old kid step up like this kid did. He was an angel. I don't know how many people he fed, probably hundreds when it was all said and done, but he deserves all the recognition in the world. I mean, he really does. I said, that's the kind of kid you hope your daughter marries. Tabitha gave him a different box to use on his 4-wheeler, and you would have thought we gave that kid $1 million. He's like, this box is bigger and so much better than the one I had. I mean, just stories like that are what give you hope in all this. The people that show up and show you their hearts, that's what makes it makes you want to keep going. It makes you want to keep helping. I think having those type of people surrounding you makes all the difference. And I hope in some small way I have been that person for somebody else. People have donated and they've been so good to us, and I hope that they see that I don't know how you help these people at this point anymore. I'm so sorry. It's just the most painful thing to watch. I'm so sorry. I just need 1 second. And nobody cares right now what side of the political fence you're on. They don't care where you go to church, if you go to church. They don't care if you're covered in tattoos or if you got a cross around your neck. They're just happy to see you there to help. Just seeing everybody come together and work so hard for all these people is amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. It really is. I'm with her shirts and people with MAGA shirts working side by side and never giving it a second thought. I mean, you have to put that stuff to the side. And I will say that is one of the things that I've probably been very vocal about, is when we have had people come here and then they go back home and they try to turn it into a political thing and politicize what's happened here. That's not fair. Don't exploit us to push your agenda. Just because you feel this way and you saw something for 2 minutes does not mean that's the way that it is here. This is not the time to try to use this as a platform. This is a time to show it does not matter which side of the fence you are on. You can bridge that gap and you can come together and do what you're supposed to do, and not turn it into, how can I further my own personal agenda by showing these pictures of these poor people over here in poor Appalachia, these poor little hillbillies. You know, look how our government failed them. Like, now is just not the time for that. When you get up in Bumpus Cove and some of those places, there are people definitely living in tents out there. So just trying to keep them warm and safe is the main thing. And I know that there's several people trying to utilize abandoned buildings any way that they can. A couple of places I know they've told them the very earliest that they'll have water or electricity is probably going to be 2 months at least. We're still working on feed, hay, things like that. Say farmers from other areas have stepped up and brought in hundreds and thousands of bales of hay to help, which is, I mean, so needed. Shelter is the big one. We were kind of already in a housing crisis in this area anyway. Rent had gone through the roof. There wasn't a lot of rental properties. We've just had a huge influx of people that want to move here. And I mean, that's great in some ways, but then for locals, when something like this happens, it's lots of families in one-bedroom apartments right now. I can attest to that with my very own eyes, just trying to get by till they can figure out what to do with their insurance companies, things like that. Who would have ever thought a hurricane would hit these mountains and flood these people out? You don't think about things like that happening because it seems preposterous when you say it. I think it will be the end for some farmers, especially that farm on smaller scales. I think they're probably done. Everybody was already coming here trying to buy up farms. Now they want to come in and buy them dirt cheap because they're wrecked. Oh, we'll give you, pennies on the dollar for what this farm was worth before this flood. And what do you do when you're standing there and you have nowhere to live, nowhere to go, and have no idea how you're going to feed your family? You take the money. We may be Southern, but that comes second to the fact that we're Appalachian. And listen, we're some strong, tough people. We will get stuff done. We don't take much crap. We don't, we're kind of not trusting of outsiders sometimes. And that will work to their advantage in these situations. It really will. Maybe other times people would say we're hostile or we're hillbillies or we're ignorant, but all that's going to work to our advantage right now, and it has. We've shown that. We are resilient. We will rebuild. We'll get it done one way or another. We'll take care of each other. We always do. You love your neighbor. Even if you don't like your neighbor, when something like this happens, you love your neighbor. I mean, it's true. People that I may have had disagreements with, we worked side by side. People that you would have not spoken to, maybe not given water to drink if they needed it. When this happened, all that does not matter. I've said if I learned anything about this, it was something about bridges and water, and you have to just let that be under the bridge and gone. You got to let it go. There's nothing like small town people to get stuff done. I mean, there really isn't. I can't tell you how many people they hadn't probably eaten in 2 or 3 days, and they were like, we don't want to take that food. We don't want to take it from somebody else. I mean, that's just how it is here. Not wanting to have to ask for help. That's a big Appalachian trait too. We're prideful people. We don't want to let anybody know we're hurting or that we need anything. But they're the same people that are first. They'll give you the shirt off the back even if that's the last thing they have to give you. That release of forgiveness in the midst of all that chaos was one of the most rewarding things probably in my life. Being able to hand somebody a hot meal was one of the most rewarding things in my life. Having a little kid that's lost everything and you gave them a backpack with a Barbie doll and a coloring book and some snacks in it, and they hug you and they tell you that they love you, and then they turn to your best friend and say, I love her and I hope I'm just like her when I grow up. I don't think you could ever put a price on that, ever, 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 and I was so humbled by that. I think the kids probably humbled me more than anything. They just were, counting on mom and dad and everybody else that they're going to be okay. And that kind of resilience in children is amazing because I cannot imagine what some of them have seen and gone through in the past 3 weeks. They own Ranger Pest Control. I'm giving them a shameless plug because they were amazing. But she literally just got together with some people at their local bar and started it, and that's where we all came together. And that's how all of it started. And then from there on out, I cannot even list all the people that have come together and helped. Insurance does not cover demolition. So that's been a huge need, a huge problem of finding enough heavy equipment. So if anybody wants to donate heavy equipment, we could definitely use it up here. Just saying, if you want to go tear down a house, think that sounds fun, we got plenty of that you can do. There's a huge need for it. Yeah, you don't have to be affiliated with anybody. You don't have to be part of an organization. You just find one of us and we'll put you to work. It's not a problem. I know there's been so much discourse about FEMA, but I mean, money is money. Take it. Maybe it's not what everybody thinks it ought to be, but it's something. Something is better than nothing. They need to sign up for every possible program that they can.
I heard the heavens crying above me. The gain's an angel. I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell instead of death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for good. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone.
You look at this debris pile. You can see the foundation of the house that was there. There was also a big 3-car garage. We literally watched that house just be sucked under the bridge.
Get out of the way. Deep wind. Oh, God. Deep wind. Damn.
There went the 107 bridge.
107 highway bridge is gone.
Over here, if you start where these hay bales are, kind of where that grass is, in this little corner area, when you start there and you go all the way down, on way past where we can see, that was all of our pepper and tomatoes, grape tomatoes and cucumbers. That was all. Well, I mean, the water washed over this bridge. This bridge was covered. To give you an idea, we got there about 6:02, and I think the bridge collapsed around 6:40 something, and it felt like an earthquake and like the loudest thunder you'd ever heard in your life, and it was that bridge washing out. We went up there and she was washing away. But when you see that bridge and see how far it is to the water, the fact that it was up on it is mind-boggling. It really is. Everything was pretty much that was going to be destroyed was already destroyed. It was an afterthought at that point. I mean, because like I said, this house that was here, that was at like 3 in the afternoon. You still had hours of flooding left. Yeah, there was a house. It was still under construction. It was a new construction house. And they had a little 3-car garage there as well. I say little, it was a big 3-car garage. It was still standing at the time that I filmed the house being taken under the bridge. But then by the next day, the garage and everything was gone. Yeah, they lost everything, sadly. When you have people say, oh, you know, I don't understand how you guys didn't know this was coming. Can you ever think in your wildest dreams? And this is, I'll tell you this because it's very important. Everybody's talking about the water outages. This is your water lines. They were on, I mean, most of the utility water lines were connected to the bridges. So when you think about how many bridges we lost, that's all those water connections were lost. You're having to go down into the river now and run pipe to get the water where it needs to go.
Josh is scared of heights, so.
I don't like heights either, so I get it. It's more emotional than it is being scared of the bridge or anything. It's just seeing it, knowing how many times I've traveled this bridge to go to the farm. It's mind-boggling to look at this knowing what it looked like before. I mean, none of this sandy beach area was here. There was a little area, a low-lying area, and then a little bit of sand, but this is all new. This is, I mean, it's forever changed the landscape along the Nolichucky River. That's the only way that I can describe it. This river, it will never be the way that it was. Campers, parts of houses, cars, everything was just washing down that river. Anywhere this river touched is damaged now.
It's crazy being out here on this bridge, just thinking that this water was coming over this bridge, and you can see the logs on the other side, the trees, how big they was. Just shows the force, the power of this water coming down to take out all these bridges. It's sad. Definitely need to pray for everybody.
Yeah, they're out there trying to pick and salvage steaks and stuff, I would imagine. Yeah, this was a huge tomato field. All these were just washing over the bridge, which I think I've got some pictures of that too, so. This is the area that I was talking about around Bill Mock Road, and they lost a lot of homes up here. It was just really a lot of widespread damage. We can get all the way out to the end where you can see a little bit better. I've got some pictures of a house that's, you can't see it because it's on down here, but you can see where the house is now and where the front steps were, how the water just picked it up and moved it. And that house is over 100 years old, so it's withstood every other flood that came down through there. I mean, this is what it looks like on a normal day here. Of course, this would have been all nice and green with tomato plants, but you see this and it's hard to reconcile how beautiful it is with how damaged it is right now. And then you get a true picture of the depth of the asphalt when you step off this, of what all it washed away right there. Where their driveway ends there was a road that ran all the way down through there to all those houses. You can see the remnants of the little bridge right there. I mean, there's nothing left of them. They're not there anymore. And on out there, if you can see that white double wide out there, there were several other double wides there, and they are now, some of them were in Tomato Time's field. I think I have pictures of that too. I think I have a picture of the double wide in one of their fields. But there were also cabins along this side, and it took all of them. Just washed them all down.
Well, even this, if you tried to search the field, they may be actually under this. How are you going to find them?
Problem is, I don't think there's any soil underneath it now. So you're talking logistically hauling all this out, trying to level it back out again, trying to bring in topsoil to replace what was washed away. Because this is nothing but sand now. You'll never farm that again. I don't see how it's humanly possible to farm it again. This continues the entirety of the 107. From beginning in Greenville at the red light where you turn onto the 107 and start at the river, it's all the way to the end like this. And then beyond. I cannot explain the amount of water that came up in places that I've never seen water before. We were out at the edge where the water was, and my 12-year-old was with us, and she said, "Mama," and I turned around and the water was already coming in behind of us. So we had to get out, or we would have been stuck out there. But that's how fast it was coming up. That's how people got trapped.
We are going to head to a local church to drop off all of these relief supplies. And the plan is this church is going to make a trip up to North Carolina, the mountains here in Tennessee, and deliver these supplies to people up there that need them. Here, I'll just make you film and
Alrighty, so I think we got everything inside now.
We'd like to thank Paranormal Nightmare for helping out in this disaster, these floods that's hit Tennessee, North Carolina, Southwest Virginia. It's good to see all the people coming together, the camaraderie, but it's bringing out a lot of good in people. And it just makes me proud that I'm an American and my fellow Americans are stepping up and taking care of things. The needs are in high demand as time goes by, different products. I just encourage everybody to just keep offering a helping hand. This is going to be a continuous thing for months and months to come. Similac formula and all your baby foods, diapers, wipes, toilet paper, some cleaning supplies. That's a big thing. towels, paper towels, and you see here we've got plenty of blankets and coats. And tents is another thing. There's tent cities everywhere. I've seen photographs and videos of, you know, just people with their houses completely gone. I mean, they're living in tents out there, so they need all the help they can get.
So you guys are planning on making a trip up there this weekend?
And this weekend we are going to go into North Carolina. But yeah, we're going to try to go to maybe Marshall or into Burnsville, just wherever the needs, you know, take us. We've got a few contacts over in there, and we're going to try to do the best we can to get as far into the area as we can. Just the people coming together, it's been a blessing for a lot of people.
We thank all you guys for everything you guys are doing for everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll continue to pray for everybody. I know prayers only go so far, but I think you get enough people praying for the same thing, good things will happen.
Oh, yeah.